These 20-foot full open-side shipping containers aren't just a tool crib, they're actually a climate-controlled tool box. And inside of these things, they're gonna be filled with Snap-on tools, Milwaukee tools, and spare parts for our customer who's a global energy superpower. In these builds, we utilized our future-proof framing system, and we finally performed some tests so we know exactly how strong this stuff is. And we're gonna show you that in this video, so stay tuned. Hope you learned something. What are these 20-foot full open-side shipping containers? They're a custom unit that aren't necessarily the same at all factories across China, and that poses a little bit of an issue for us because even if we have the exact same prefix of units, like in this case, there's still minor variances, and that required our engineering team to really look at every container and figure out the exact dimensions because we wanted every piece inside of this build to be fully engineered, laser cut, and bent and fit just like IKEA furniture, and that's exactly what happened. And so what we had to do that was different with this build is come up with a way for the roof studs to come across the roof and terminate and have some sort of a flashing there where we can still get a nice vapor barrier around the header all the way across the top tubing, and then coming down the end wall where the open side is, that's a little bit different too. But other than that, it's very similar to finishing out regular shipping containers. We utilized our steel stud brackets and that held the tracks in place, and then our new future-proof framing. And what we did is we framed every corrugation, so that's about 11 inches on center, and that allowed us to router out through the PVC wall covering and insert strut channel right into place. And so we pulled straight out with 1,200 pounds and it withstood it. So basically, whatever the unistrut or the strut channel is rated for is what this wall system can handle. And because there's like 20 of them ripping across the back there, you're basically at the capacity of the shipping container. So you can have 20,000 pounds all the way across the back of this thing, wall supported, and then you still have the full access with the open side doors to put your jaw boxes or your tool boxes inside of there. So you can load these things right up and transfer them all across the planet. And that's what containers are meant to be. So they still have the corner castings on the four corners, they can be handled at ports, and they have the fork pockets. Another really cool thing I really wanna show you is what we did on these doors. So with our door flashing kits, we had to make custom widths and heights, and we got that to work. So that retains all the spray foam on these doors and allows us to finish them. But we tucked our future-proof framing system right inside of these door flashing kits, and then we were able to router through there and install strut channel here as well. So this is actually a rugged, durable way that we could mount shelving brackets, or usually a lot of people right on the container doors want to put like their job boards there, or they got some pegboard, which could be utilized instead of these panels. When you're getting these custom side opening doors, you definitely lose an entire wall. And so here, I really like the idea that we can still utilize this for additional function, and that's what we get inside of here is major function. There's 4-man function in here. It looks beautiful, and it is super modular. So these strut channels, again, are 11 inches on center, or 279 millimeters to be precise. And that now allows us to utilize all of our modular interior systems. So we have specific pipe racks and shelf brackets and desks, and we can have plans tables. Or one really cool thing with this customer is we can actually figure out the exact tooling that they have and build exact racking or mounting for that. And then, depending on where this unit would be deployed, they can choose the racking and the mounting and the tooling that goes inside, and they can swap that out interchangeably. And another thing that matters when you're going to deploy this thing is the climate. And so what we tried to do is just make this for the Arctic climate, because typically if it works up here in Canada, it works anywhere. But there's things that we need to battle, like humidity, we need to battle heat, or the extreme cold. What we don't have is an air conditioner or additional heat, but what the customer is planning on doing is if a mini split needs to be mounted, it's just a 2-inch hole that they need to drill through the side and they'll mount that. Or say the temperature's not so bad, but it's extremely humid outside. Well, then mini splits work great as well. They have a dehumidification function, and you can set that and really make sure that we don't get any condensation on the tooling inside of this. It's really a Swiss Army knife for all different climates and all different tooling. This utilizes all DIY components, and it is something you could take on. There are a few little things that maybe are a little difficult if you don't know how to weld, like this steel checker plate floor. So this here, we seam welded the entire floor, and we made sure that we stayed away from the lashing so that the customer could still strap things down inside of this unit. But this gives a very rugged, durable floor, and now often the wood floor if it gets wet, the plywood could delaminate, and potentially, because we build these things so durable, that could be the first thing that goes. And so once we do the steel floor in here, and with all these non-porous construction techniques, these things are really gonna last forever. And that's what I love about this no wood, no fiberglass, only spray foam, only steel method that we utilize here at The Container Guy. So let's finish off the tour inside of here. As you can see, we use our typical method of surface mounting all of the conduit and the electrical. And then right here, we tried two different things. On one of them, we utilized just a passive big air vent, and another one, we utilized an intake damper. So we got two different methods, and this is a bit of a science experiment. We wanna know if we just continuously have a little bit of passive ventilation, what does that do to the tools inside of here? Or if we use the louvers, that stops all air transfer when the exhaust fan isn't working. And this thing here utilizes a very high-tech controller. It's got both high and low parameters for humidity and temperature. So that'll kick on, it'll open up the intake dampers and the exhaust louvers as the fan turns, and it'll pull air through here like a madman. I think these are like 2,560 CFM, so that'll be a ton of air exchanges an hour, way too much, almost like a surgery room inside of here if this thing was on full blast. And then the other option was still to utilize this, but have just our big air 45 vent. And with those being a fixed gable vent that's always open, what you're gonna notice inside of here is that the exhaust louvers will kind of flap with the pressure of the earth. And so there's always gonna be a little bit of passive ventilation inside of here. Instead of with the dampers, it's a mechanical ventilation. So those are two different ways of going about it. So there's a ton of variables when it comes to ventilation, and there's no real one size fits all. So that pretty much wraps up the tour of this interior with our future-proof framing systems and what we've mounted to the modular interior system. Let's check out the other features on the outside of these things. And so here's the components we added to the end wall of the shipping container. So here's that junction box. This is where you can bring up to 100 amps inside of this, or we got the generator switch. This is really cool. It's something we came up with. We actually found these right on Amazon, and you guys can find those as well. We could leave a link in the description below if you think this is a cool idea. But what we can do is, if you only have an extension cord to plug this thing in, you can plug it in here and flip this, or if you're feeding it with the full 100 amps, 30 amps, whatever from your generator or shore power, then you just have that off. So you got options, and what that runs is the plug-in on the inside of the shipping container that feeds both the exhaust fan and the lights. So at bare minimum, you got that, or if you got a whole bunch of power, you can run heat, air conditioning, whatever. And one thing that's really cool here is on that T16 exhaust fan. So we really like the AC Infinity exhaust fans, but some cold air can get in through there. And so what we did here is we added a second set of louvers. And so when that fan kicks on, it's got to open up two sets of louvers. But what that does is it creates a little dead air pocket inside of there. And air, as we know, is a bit of an insulator. And so that in the extreme cold, doesn't get so much of that -40, -50 drafts coming inside of there, which can also contribute to condensation or frost building up into the interior. So it's a little bit of insurance that we have there, and that really helps the exhaust fans from just flapping in the wind too much. So we're not sure, even with those big air 45 vents as intakes, is that actually gonna happen now because we have that double air? To be determined. So this thing is the ultimate modular toolbox or job box that transfers all across the planet, utilizes all existing infrastructure, and it is the perfect solution for somebody that is a global superpower and needing to perform tasks that are very meticulous, very engineered tasks with perfect tools, zero specks or rust, and that is what we provided them. So I'm really excited to do these builds, and if you're looking for the best way to build a job box, consider the steel stud brackets with Container Modification World, and hopefully one day we can perfect this future-proof framing system and have that available for you guys to purchase as well. Sorry I couldn't be on the tools on this one, but I really hope you enjoyed the tour, and a lot more of these are coming. So if you enjoyed this video, please help us out and give the video a like. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications. And as always, check us out at tcg.ca. Hope you learned something.